ahead on 12 News Weekend, a proposal that's high in spirits. See what's planned for a Brooklyn Park office building. Then later in the show, Christmas comes early at a local preschool. See what's behind this classroom full of toys. But first, a hot topic at Osseo area schools, how to close an achievement gap. 12 News Weekend starts right now. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us this weekend. We start this weekend with a problem plaguing schools across the state, how to close an achievement gap.
The issue is a hot topic for candidates running for Osseo School Board, and here's why. Math proficiency for white students at Osseo area schools is 73%. For blacks, it's 33%. In reading proficiency, it's 72% for whites compared to 36% for black students. But progress is being made. Sonny Goins went to Park Center High School to show us how.
It's a drive that I have to stand out and be above other people, yes.
Ivy Robinson is on a mission to do well in school.
I have all A's and B's at the moment.
Last year, the Park Center senior decided to drop the normal course load and is now taking all college-level classes.
I want to be a veterinarian, so I felt like if I wanted to do something different, then I'd have to be different.
Ivy says she wants to break the stereotype that some people have of African-American students.
We can all achieve if we put our minds to it. If we keep up what we're doing, then we'll be above and we won't have that gap, not even just for the African-American, but for the other minorities.
But for students struggling to make the grade, Park Center has put in place a few programs to help them succeed. The school has boosted its reading curriculum.
If need be, we place them in 2 reading classes. We double them up. So throughout the day, they have 2 classes that support them in building their reading comprehension and reading skills.
And there are additional resources for students taking geometry and algebra.
A student in those sections will have 2 licensed math teachers, rock star math teachers at all times, helping them.
School officials say they are seeing signs of improvement when it comes to closing the achievement gap.
Since 2008, Park Center has achieved a more than 35% increase of on-time graduation rates for our black students. That's the highest increase by far in the state of Minnesota among schools with at least 50 students in their graduating class.
But Park Center officials say there is still work to be done.
We're not going to be satisfied until we get all students to graduate on time.
The Osseo School District is one of the most racially diverse in the state. At Park Center, only 21% of students are white.
Brooklyn Park says it has more than its fair share of affordable housing. It's taking its case directly to members of the Metropolitan Council.
These are serious conversations. They have significant ramifications for the future, and we got to get it right, is the bottom line.
Brooklyn Park City Manager Jamie Verbrugge says a proposed Met Council housing plan is unfair. He contends it will increase concentrations of poverty and racial segregation.
That you're actually helping the communities who are facing these adverse conditions by improving the future of our region and not continuing to reinforce old patterns that will continue to challenge the tremendous progress that's being made so far.
Hopefully, all of us can bring the perspective of the cities that we represent. I represent 8 cities, and hopefully we can bring it strong enough and well enough so that they're accommodated through this process.
Brooklyn Park officials have said they're not opposed to affordable housing, but that it should be more evenly spread out in the Twin Cities.
A new survey shows that thousands and thousands of jobs are going unfilled. In fact, job vacancies in Minnesota are at a 13-year high and have doubled since 2010. According to the survey released by the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, there is more to the story, however. Many of the job openings are in high turnover fields and wages are not rising. The median wage offer for all openings is just above $12 an hour. That's compared to $13 per hour at the end of 2013. Nearly half of the openings were in 3 industries: retail, hotels and restaurants, and healthcare and social assistance.
In our weekend review, changes could be coming to Brooklyn Park's fire department. The City Council gave conditional approval to a plan to hire 18 full-time firefighters, replacing part-time staff. It doesn't have the final okay yet. The hires cannot be made until the budget is finalized, and that is in December. In Robbinsdale, police say 3 alert citizens helped them catch the vandals who damaged the city's new downtown mural. Police say the two suspects used spray paint stolen from a nearby hardware store. 3 people saw the crime occur and they called police. Police arrested a man and a teenage boy minutes later. The mural was recently completed after weeks of work. And in New Hope, developers and city officials broke ground on an upscale apartment complex. The Gates of New Hope calls for 32 units with upgraded amenities. It replaces an older home in a vacant insurance building on the corner of Medicine Lake Road and Hillsborough Avenue. In the next few months, you'll be able to walk into a liquor store and buy spirits made right here in Brooklyn Park.
The City Council approved a plan on Monday to allow distilleries with cocktail rooms on site. We caught up with a man who plans to open Brooklyn Park's first distillery. On the outside, it looks like a nondescript office building, but go inside and walk down this unassuming hallway to Suite 28.
Just a small, humble space.
And you've entered the future home of Skolven Distillery.
That's all going to kind of take place over here.
Norwegian for toast to your friends.
It's called Skolven. We anticipate everyone's going to call it Skolven. Can't win everything.
What was once a hobby turned into a passion project for Brooklyn Park resident Tyson Schnichter and his wife.
I've always liked good beer and good wine and spirits, and so once I actually started thinking about it, I was like, man, this could be really cool. Passes through this little loop right here.
But since he moved into the space in July, it didn't take long to discover that building a small business from the ground up is no easy task.
I just kind of having a ball, being terrified, trying to start up the American dream. It's oval shaped.
He has to decide what bottles to use.
Each bottle has got its own unique advantages and disadvantages.
Determine the look of the company logo.
It's going to be pretty similar to this.
And purchase all of the necessary equipment to create the hard liquor on site.
We don't have a crew of 20 people where we can delegate things out.
Thankfully, the small businesses around him are lending a hand by helping with t-shirts.
The logo, I absolutely love it.
And donating a fridge.
T-shirts on that side, fridge on that side. That saved me $200.
Another helpful hand came from the city of Brooklyn Park.
I think it's just an exciting thing to have. It's more up and coming. There's a lot of distilleries in northeast Minneapolis, and to have something like that in Brooklyn Park is really a huge asset to the community.
I'm not looking to make $1 million, just want to have a decent living, and everything sounds like that's possible.
The official grand opening is yet to be determined because they're still going through the license application process, but they expect to open sometime between January and May of 2015. They didn't have anything yet on site to sample, so when that does open, you'll be sure I'll be there.
That's right, you'll be first in line.
That's right. Well, coming up on 12 News Weekend, we're in the garden next with tips to extend the life of your frost-weary plants.
And then later in sports, Champlin Park battles Centennial in the section tennis playoffs.
But first, temperatures stay in the 50s on Monday, but there's a warm-up in sight.
The temperatures are dropping, but you can still extend your flower power into the fall.
Reporter Sonny Goins goes in the garden to show us how.
Oh, the mums are to die for.
Fabulous fall colors can be seen all around Line Garden Center in Maple Grove.
I love the sedums, the rudbeckies, the black-eyed Susans, and the grasses mixed together. They are so lovely.
The bright yellow, red, orange, and even pink show off the very best of autumn.
And you can see how nice and pretty they look.
But these bold blooms don't have to disappear once the temperatures drop.
I think it's cool for kids because it looks like a turtle's head.
You can make them last by covering them up.
You can extend your look for a longer period of time, probably a good 2 weeks probably.
All the covering
Hostas are a good thing to cover.
and uncovering can be time-consuming.
It's also windy a lot of times. You want to make sure maybe you pick up the pot and cover it, put a rock over it. You can use leaves.
Here's what can happen when your plants get hit with frost.
As you can see, it dropped all its leaves on the ground. This one, ironically, was underneath this tree, and as you can see, the buds still stayed on it.
But there are some plants that are hardy enough to withstand the frost.
There's things like your grasses and your sedums. You don't have to cover those at all, and they look really cool, and they'll tolerate the frost and all that kind of stuff. This is a geranium, and this one you don't have to cover. This one actually will be the perennial plant of the year next year.
For In the Garden, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Well, don't forget to water your plants. Giving them a drink will allow the plants to transition more smoothly from the growing season into their dormant stage. Well, coming up, how Brooklyn Park preschoolers have a say in the next hottest selling toys.
But first, Park Center lights up the scoreboard in a playoff soccer win. That's coming up in sports with Jay Wilcox.
Welcome back. Jay Wilcox joins us now with sports and section time in girls tennis.
That's right. It's usually the first sport to kind of get into the postseason in the fall, and no different this year. Champlin Park's girls tennis team ended the regular season with a win over Centennial. Just 6 days later, the team squared off again in Section 5AA quarterfinal play. The fourth-seeded Rebels hosting number 5 seed Centennial. One doubles, Danielle Wolf serves for Champlin Park. Clara Olson gets the backhand volley winner for Centennial. Later, Sam Conzit strokes the backhand passing shot winner here for the Rebels. Conzit and Wolf win their match. Second doubles, Michaela Larson and Claire Witt in the near court for Champlin Park. Witt with a perfect lob for a winner here. And then Witt's forehand deep in the corner will set up an overhead winner by Larson. Larson and Witt win this one in 3 sets. At one singles, Champlin Park's Jessica Kelly delivers an ace serve right here for the Rebels. Later in the same game, Jenna Sundstrom's drop shot sets up a nice backhand winner down the line, and Sundstrom wins 6-2, 6-3. At number 2 singles, the Rebels' Emily Sjostrom with a forehand, and this one is not coming back. Then it's Sjostrom with a backhand winner as she takes this match in straight sets. Champlin Park beat Centennial 6-1. The Rebels, however, lost to top seed Mounds View in the semifinals. It's a program with a great history, and the Wayzata girls soccer team is hoping for a return to the state tournament. After a slow start, by their standards anyway, the Trojans won 4 straight and 6 of their last 8 games in the regular season. That helped them earn the number 1 seed for section play in a close vote over Armstrong, meaning home games throughout.
With bringing all the fans here, it's easier to get them to your own home stadium and, not taking those long bus rides and stuff like that, and just being really prepared in your own stadium and knowing your field and everything like that gives you an advantage, I think. So.
I feel bad for Armstrong because it was obviously very close. It got to almost to the point where we're going to have to toss a coin, but I think both schools had arguments for being the first seed, and fortunately the other coaches just settled it on their own. So.
Lake Conference champ Wayzata entered the postseason with a 10-3-2 record, and they won their quarterfinal game in Section 6AA Thursday. It's a team with a lot of depth, and that has been put to the test by a string of injuries, some of them season-ending. But battling through that made for a stronger team.
I think starting off, we were a little shaky with the injuries in the beginning, but I think, as a whole, I think we really overcame that, and I think right now we are in a really strong position to make it to state.
We talked about it as a team, and we're not going to let this discourage us. We're actually just going to make this better. We're going to make it stronger, prove to everyone that even through injuries, we're going to prove everyone wrong and just win.
If Wayzata gets by Minnetonka in the 6AA semifinals, they'd host the championship Tuesday night. The Prairie Seeds Academy boys soccer team moved up to Class AA last season and won the Section 5 tournament. Osseo beat the Lycans 1-0 during the regular season this fall, and those teams matched up in the Section 5AA quarterfinals. A turnover cost Prairie Seeds as Emmanuel Kema pushes it ahead to Kapow 2, who tucks it inside the goalpost on the far side for a 1-0 Osseo lead. They strike again off the long free kick. Kema heads it to Gabe Gallamu, who chips it high off the goalpost and in for a 2-0 Osseo lead less than 4 minutes after the first goal. Then it's Alvin Jarley going high over the keeper on a free kick. Osseo breaks open a scoreless game with 3 goals in 6.5 minutes to go up 3-0 at the half. Second half, and off the Jarley free kick, Bashiro Korma directs it in to make it 4-0. Osseo goes on to a 6-1 win, but they lost to Mounds View in the semis. Park Center at Spring Lake Park. Malik Ibrahim with the free kick. Sam Ben is there to head it in. Park Center ties this game at 1-1. There's a lot more scoring to come in this one, though. Off a long throw in by Andy Farrell. Brenton Brocky directs it in with his body. It counts for a goal. Park Center takes a 2-1 lead. Another throw in by Farrell leads to another goal. It bounces around in front, and then Ben with a quick shot finds the back of the net. That makes it 3-1 Park Center. Spring Lake Park comes battling back. Good passing from Chris Carchi to Danny Claybeck and to Brandon Martinez for the goal. The Panthers are within 3-2 at halftime. Second half, and Abraham with a corner kick that's bobbled by the keeper. And Ben is there to put it away again for his third of the night. Park Center wins this one 5-3, but they fell 1-0 to Maple Grove in the semis. So by the end of this coming week, we'll have champions crowned in all the soccer sections too.
All right, thanks, Jay.
You bet.
Still ahead, Santa arrives early in Brooklyn Park.
We'll take you to the classroom full of toys when we come back.
Finally, the next hot toy could be sitting in a Brooklyn Park classroom.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to visit a Brooklyn Park preschool that was part of a national toy test.
We take toys almost as seriously as Santa.
The gifts that can make or break Christmas.
Season's hottest toys.
Have you ever wondered just how they determine the hottest toys of the season? Well, that's where the preschool kids at the Goddard School in Brooklyn Park come into play.
We had a hand in that.
Let's see what she gets.
They're one of 50 Goddard franchise schools from around the nation chosen to participate in a toy test.
And it's all about picking the right toys and testing them for the upcoming gift-giving season.
All right, Nathan.
The testers are these lucky preschoolers who get to experiment with 25 toys given to the school by various companies.
This is a tunnel ball game.
You need green and blue.
Each toy is designed to help kids practice their language and cognitive skills.
This is the Smarty Blocks.
Take, for instance, the Smarty Blocks.
So you're building patterns. You get a pattern card, and then it's part of the trick is to build the exact pattern or to have to ask your friends.
To avoid chaos,
What is it now?
this class has the toys organized into different groups.
They're playing with a science experiment, so finding out what colors mix together and what they will create.
It's the teacher's job to see if the kids need any guidance, and most importantly, whether they enjoy them.
The teachers ask very open-ended questions. What did you like about this toy? Which one would you want to keep in our room? Which one do you want to play with the most?
It's up to the kids to narrow it down to a top 10.
It makes blue.
So far, the science experiment gets high marks.
We really like it, so for our class, it gets the vote, I think.
The children have the whole week to make up their minds.
Blue.
What they decide will play a role in what other kids find under the Christmas tree.
I mean, the toy test is a really exciting thing because it's such a hands-on type experience. It's one of those best learning type opportunities that we get to do.
Well, once the children select their top 10, then the parents can vote for their favorites on Goddard's national Facebook page. I have no idea what the number one toy is going to be, but I do know that Goddard will take that toy, donate 100 of them to Toys for Tots, so good service all around there.
Very good. What was your favorite? What did you see that you liked?
Well, the few that I saw there, I really like those balls going on the little obstacle course there. That the science experiment looked fun, but very messy.
I can't imagine that would be on the top of parents' list
Yeah,
by
probably
any
not. We'll
means,
see.
but still a neat thing.
Yeah.
That's all the time we have for now, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Have a nice weekend. We'll see you Monday at 4 o'clock.